This is gonna be tough. If you were around during my early, poorly recorded, barely written days of YouTube, you might remember my top 10 MLP characters videos. The list has changed quite a bit in the 2 years since I posted it. Some characters are higher on the list than they used to be, some are lower, some are brand new to the list, and some, unfortunately, had to get cut. And we're going to be talking about one of those characters today. This video is a patron-requested character talk from Minion of the East, and the character that he wanted me to discuss was Zecora. Back when I made that top 10, I had Zecora placed as number 6, and I considered her to be one of my favorite supporting characters. But these days, I can't really say that anymore. Why? Well, it's similar to why I don't like pre-redemption Starlight as much as I used to. For Zecora, I've realized that I liked her more for what she could have been rather than what she actually was. It really became apparent to me in the last 2 seasons, where she's barely appeared in any major roles save for the season 5 finale, and that was in an alternate timeline. It was at the point where I would make jokes about how little she's used whenever I review a story featuring her. By season 5, we were starting to branch out into new locations and explore different areas and cultures, but Zecora had remained practically untouched as a character, and considering that she was originally intended to be a secondary mentor for Twilight during the show's early development, that's a long fall from what she was originally planned for. I know that sometimes things change during development. I'm not one of those people that go, "Oh, Lauren's original vision, blah blah blah," but I still can't help but be a little disappointed in this case. Because of how little we've been seeing Zecora, I've had time to think about her as a character, and I've come to understand some of the reasons why some folks don't care for her. And I'm gonna get the most touchy reason out of the way first. With characters like Zecora, Saffron Masala, and even the Yaks to a certain extent, I can see why some perceive her as a negative stereotype. I'm not too bothered by it personally, but I'll put it this way. If I saw a character that spoke in a heavy Caribbean accent, had calypso music playing whenever they entered a scene, and was heavily implied to smoke some kind of recreational drug, as someone who is Caribbean, I would have had a few concerns. What makes this potentially worse for Zecora is that, unlike Saffron, she's appeared in multiple episodes, so she's had several opportunities to break out of the witch doctor stereotype. Secondly, when I think about it, she's pretty much a token character. We've explored almost every sentient species in FIM to some capacity. Dragons? Check. Griffins? Check. Yaks? Check. But we've never seen any other zebras, even in the background. Sure, there are some species like minotaurs and sea serpents that haven't been explored yet, but unlike Iron Will and Steven, Zecora is a recurring character that we've seen at least once every season. As of right now, zebras are the only sentient species that have appeared in more than one episode in important story roles and haven't been expanded on beyond the one character that represents them. On top of that, in the majority of her appearances, her only role in the story is to help whoever the main character is. Trixie's taking over Ponyville. Get Zecora. The Everfree Forest is acting up. Get Zecora. Everyone's turned evil. Get Zecora. We rarely, if ever, see her in a more casual light, when she's not serving as an assistant to someone else. The closest we ever get to having some kind of personal moment with her is in Friends Forever 21, where she talks to Spike about her loneliness, and even then, that's still inherently tied to what she is rather than who she is. We don't get to see much of Zecora's personality, her motivations, or anything that would further define her as a character. Even in the comics, which are known for giving some much needed attention to neglected characters, she's merely used as an assistant, a tool. And it really sucks to have to say that about a character that I once considered to be one of my favorites. Other characters that are rarely used are either left alone or used as gag appearances when the moment calls for it. But Zecora is just used in the same role over and over again. And with her being used less and less, and with the show going into its 7th season, I honestly don't see that changing as far as the show is concerned. We might get lucky with the comics, but even that seems unlikely at this point. Now, don't get it twisted. I still like Zecora, and I would love to be wrong about the likelihood of her character getting more depth. After what happened with Fluttershy in season 5, anything's possible, and I'd like to think that there's at least some chance of things changing with Zecora. But for the moment, that chance is looking pretty slim to me. Writing this video was an eye-opening and somewhat cathartic experience. It's hard saying these kinds of things about a character you were once very invested in, but you guys know that I prefer to be honest on this channel. I tell it like it is, even when it may not be something that you, or in this case I, want to hear. Still, I can say that I at least found some enjoyment in exploring why my investment in Zecora has waned, and I hope you guys did too. Thanks to Minion of the East for requesting this video. If there's a character that you want me to discuss on this channel, or if you want other rewards and goodies, consider supporting me on Patreon. So what do you think of Zecora? Swarm that comment section below or bug me on social media. Until next time, keep it sketchy, folks.